Confused about U.S. immigration? Or unsure which path is right for you? At Raju Law, we guide individuals, families, and businesses through complex U.S. immigration matters with clarity and confidence. Led by attorney Raju Mahajan, our experienced immigration attorneys share practical insights, real solutions, and up-to-date guidance you can rely on. Join our free online session every Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where our attorneys discuss key immigration topics and answer your questions live.
Hello everyone and warm welcome to Rajulo's Monday Live. I am Ms. Faral Dushari Turin and I will be your host for this session. Today's topic is especially important for green card holder, long-term residents and families planning their future in the United States. Becoming a US citizen, naturalization insights from an immigration attorney. A quick heads up for all the viewers, we'll be sharing our weekly immigration news updates at the end of the session. So be sure to stay with us till the very end. To guide us through today's discussion, we are joined by a very special guest, Mr. Raju Mahajan, founder and principal attorney of Raju Law.
Thank you very much for inviting me today. As Turin said, this is a very special topic for those who already have green cards. By the way, before I jump into this discussion, I am, as you already see that my friend, he is driving my car and I am in the car. It's snowing outside. The weather is very bad and we're going through a very mountainous road. So I request all of you, especially those who are living in the East Coast, those who are affected by this snowstorm, please stay inside home. It was my mistake to go outside yesterday night and I was kind of stuck. So please don't, do that. Stay home, stay safe, and listen to our Monday live. So as Turin said, our topic today is becoming a U.S. citizen, naturalization insights from an immigration attorney. We can, Turin, can you please start sharing a screen? Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, next slide, please. Yes, perfect. So what is naturalization? Many people, they don't know. It's just a big word, naturalization. All it means is you're going to become a U.S. citizen. Many of you know that once you become a U.S. permanent resident, meaning you have green card, usually after 5 years, in some situation after 3 years, you can apply for citizenship. And the formal name for U.S. citizenship is naturalization. So naturalization is the legal process. By the way, I'm reading from my iPad. So, I'm sitting a little far away from this phone. That's why I'm reading from my iPad. So naturalization is the legal process by which a lawful permanent resident, LPR, becomes a U.S. citizen. It is a privilege, not an automatic right. So this is a very important topic, a very important thing to remember, because just because you are a permanent resident of United States doesn't mean that you are going to be automatically U.S. citizen. It is your privilege, meaning you have to apply, your application must be approved, then you will get citizenship. USCIS applies high standard of credibility, consistency, and honesty. Applications are filed using Form N400 with USCIS, both paper and online filing. So you can either file online or you can, use the traditional paper format. Either way is good. There's no, good or bad thing. You can follow either. Next slide, please. Core eligibility requirements. Applicants must be 18 years or older, acquiring citizenship through parents before age of 18. A different process applies. Form N600 may be filed. So if you are going to apply for U.S. citizenship as a children of your parents who are U.S. citizen, then you have to follow the form N600. For other people, it's N400. Or the child may apply directly for a U.S. passport. Sometimes you even don't need to apply for citizenship. You can directly apply for passport because that's your birthright. That's a constitutional right to get a U.S. passport as a children of U.S. citizens. Meet continuous residency and physical presence requirement. There is a mathematical calculation. Many people, they are they have difficulty understanding this thing. We will discuss that in a minute. But please remember that there is you need to show continuous residency and physical presence there. Demonstrate good moral character, GMC. So good moral character is a legal term. Certain crimes, if you are convicted of those crimes, you will not be able to apply for US citizenship because you will not be able to prove that you have a good moral character. One of my clients once said, "Hey, I'm a person of good character." I said, "How do you know?" He said, "I think so." So it's not a question of whether you think or not. There is a certain standard. You have, if you follow those standard, if you meet it, then yes, you have good moral character for the purpose of your citizenship. But if you do not meet this requirement, then you do not have good moral character for US citizenship purposes. Pass English and civic test. So this is another thing. You have to pass the English test. Many people, you have difficulty learning English. You are required to learn English to become a US citizen. So please remember that in your mind. And also there's a civic test. Show attachment to the US Constitution. So that's very important. You have to show that you really care about United States as a country, US Constitution, and your rule of law. Otherwise, it will be difficult for you to get approved. Next slide, please. Eligibility pathways. 5-year rule, standard eligibility for most LPRs. As I said in the beginning, most people, after they receive green card, they need to wait 5 years, basically 4 years, 9 months, before they apply for citizenship. And once you apply for citizenship, usually it takes 1 year, sometimes less, sometimes more, but in general, 1 year to get it approved. So please remember this 5-year rule. 3-year rule, marriage-based, must be still married to the US citizen spouse during filing. So if you received green card through marriage-based application, in that case, your eligibility will be only 3 years. There are some special provisions. I'm not going into that detail because that does not apply to most people. Next slide, please. Why citizenship matters? Some of my clients, they ask me this question: "Hey, I'm already happy being a permanent resident. I really don't need citizenship." So security from deportation or removal. By the way, I must tell you that just because you are a US citizen doesn't mean that you can do anything in the world and the US government will not be able to deport you. That's not true. However, the standard for deportation for US citizens and deportation for US green card is different. Citizens standard is very high. So it is always better to be a US citizen to avoid such, like unwanted kind of situations. Right to vote and full civic participation, that is really important. If you're a US citizen, you'll be able to participate in vote, especially federal election. Stronger immigration benefits for family members. Unless you are a US citizen, you cannot apply for your parents or siblings. So that's a really good benefit if you are a US citizen. Access to federal jobs and security clearances, lifelong immigration stability. So there are a lot of federal jobs. To apply for those jobs, you really have to be US citizen. Otherwise, you cannot apply for those jobs. And also in some IT fields, to get a security clearance, you must have citizenship. Otherwise, you will not get those kind of clearance. Next slide, please. By the way, those who are not watching our videos, just watching our audios in our podcast, when I say next slide, please, yes, I'm reading from slides, but do not worry. Anything in the slide, I'm telling here, so you're not actually missing anything. So the continuous presence requirement, demonstrating continuous residence in the United States for at least 5 years, absence of 6 to 12 months raise a rebuttable presumption of break. You should bring your IRS tax transcript to your interview, especially if you have traveled outside the United States for a period that lasted more than 6 months. Just remember that. I know this kind of mathematical calculation is really difficult to say in a live presentation like this. But please remember, try your best not to stay more than 6 months in a given period. At one time, do not stay outside of the United States for more than 6 months. If you follow this rule, you'll be good to go. In case, if you need to stay more than 6 months, do not stay more than 11 months. Like, do not go cross 12 months. If you cross 12 months period, your green card may be abandoned. And you may have to apply for a new green card application. It's called returning resident visa. That comes with a lot of restrictions, a lot of requirements. Try your best not to go in that route. Try your best to stay in America within 6 months. Also, absence of 1 year or more usually break continuous residency automatically. therefore detailed travel record. So when you apply for citizenship, make sure that you know all of your entry and exit dates. And when you also file taxes, tell them the accurate date. Because if you do not tell them the right date in IRS filing, later if they discover it, then you filed wrong tax, right? It's not good for you. Try your best to file the tax with right information. Next slide, please. The continuous residency requirement part 2. Certain applicants working abroad may qualify for an exemption to this continuous residency requirement if employed by US government, military, and other things. Don't worry about that part. Most of the people, they do not meet this criteria anyway. So I'm not, I'm not going to discuss about those things. But if you really meet this criteria, like if you're employed by US federal government or US Department of Defense, yes, let me know. I can help you with a shorter application. Next slide, please. Continuous residency requirement part 3. A public international organization, as I said, these are the exemptions. An organization designed under the International Immunity Act, a religious demonstration, all these are special situations. To preserve continuous residency while working abroad, applicants must file Form N47D, 470, to show that you are not required to maintain this continuous residency requirement, right? But as I said, most people will not meet this criteria anyway. Next slide, please. Physical presence requirement. Courts actually delay physical, counts actual days physically present inside the US. 5-year rule must have 30 months, 913 days of physical presence in United States. For 3-year rule must have 18 months, 548 days of physical presence. Important note here, physical presence is calculated separately from continuous residency. So these are the two things. Physical presence is one thing and continuous residency is other thing. If you meet both criteria, only then you can apply for US citizenship. Next slide, please. Travel history documentation. All trips must match passport stamps. This is really important. And in many countries, if they may not give you a stamp in your passport. When you enter the country or leave the country, please ask them to put a stamp in your passport so that you can show them. That's really important to match your passport information, your tax information, and your other information. If all of those matches properly, then you're good to go. Missing estimated or inconsistent dates create serious credibility issues. Try to keep the notes of arrival and departure. So if you are a frequent traveler, a lot of people, they travel all over the world because of business and other thing. You may have like a multiple passports in last 5 years. In that case, keep a separate note in a paper about all of your arrivals and departures. That's really going to help you. Next slide, please. Good moral character, GMC. Good moral character means character that measures up to the standard of average citizens of the community in which the applicant resides. USCIS reviews GMC during the statutory period of 5 or 3 years and examines, number 1, criminal conduct, arrest, charges, convictions, honesty and truthfulness in all dealings, compliance with laws, taxes, child support, traffic violations, all these things. Many of my clients, they say, hey, I do not know whether I have any violations. What do I do? So there are many ways to find if you really have violations in last 5 years. One of the good ways is FBI's background check. FBI has tools to check your background for pretty much all the time you are in America. I think you have to pay them. I forget the amount of money, but if you go to FBI website, you can get a copy of your background check. That's really helpful to see if you have any violations. Also, all the states that you lived for more than 6 months, you can reach out to their state police department. They also keep record of any kind of violation, like state law violations. Also, the county you lived, county may have a separate violation list, especially related to traffic and all those those kind of things, traffic violations. State police may not have access to those things, but the county may have. Also, the county court may have some information. So these are the place you can really get copy of your previous violations so that you can know if there's anything bad. Warning, GMC issues are not the most common reasons for naturalization. GMC issues are the most common reason for naturalization denials. Example, if you have failed to pay taxes as required, USCIS may determine that you lack good moral character. So that's why paying taxes is really, really important. Next slide, please. Criminal issues and disclosures. And arrest does not equal a conviction, but must still be disclosed. So this is another important thing. In N400 application, you have to disclose all citations, arrests, convictions, everything. Even though, let's say you have been cited wrongly and judge say that you are not convicted, there's no punishment for you. That's okay. You will still have to mention that. And I highly recommend that for my clients because the more honest you are, the better for your immigration cases. So even though it's a very minor traffic violations, I highly recommend you to mention those and disclose those to US government, USCIS. That's really going to help you. Even expunged or sealed cases may be revealed to USCIS. Traffic citations can matter in certain circumstances. Never hide any arrest or charge, regardless of outcome. Remember, failure to disclose is considered misrepresentation and can result in denial. Next slide, please. Selective service registration. Required for most males who lived in the US between age 18 to 26 as LPR. So this is another good point to remember. Many students, many international students come to America for their master's or PhD program. In most cases, they exceed 26 years limit. So if you come to America after your 26th birthday, you do not have to register for selective service programs. However, if you come to America before your 26th birthday, you must register for selective service program. Now, how do you know? So most of the students who come to America for undergrad or high school, they qualify for this. So just remember about your 26th birthday. Required for most males who lived in the US between the age of 18 to 26. Failure to register may negatively affect good moral character determination. Exemption exists, but must be properly documented with evidence. Check now, visit sss.gov to verify your registration status. So that's the selective service website, sss.gov. That's where you see whether you're eligible for selective service registration or not. English and civic requirement. Next slide, please. Yeah. English test, speaking, reading, and writing abilities assessed during interview. Civic test, 2025 naturalization civic test, new policy. There's a new policy. USCIS will administer the 2025 naturalization civic test to aliens who file Form N400 to apply for naturalization on or after October 20th, 2025. 20 questions asked from a list of 128 questions, must answer at least 12 correctly. So there's a 20, they're going to ask you 20 questions and you have to answer 12 questions correctly to pass the test. Exemptions and English, exemptions for English and civic test. Next slide, please. Yeah. For English test, age 50 or older at the time of filing N400 with 20 years as LPR. It's called 50-20 rule. Is 55 or older at the time of filing N400 with 15 years as LPR. 55-15 rule. Note, even if you qualify for the 50-20 or 55-15 English exemption, you must still take the civic test. Though you may take it in your native language with a qualified interpreter who is fluent in both English and your native language. So this is a misconception. Many people, they think, oh, if I am exempt from English test, I'm also exempt from the civic test. That's not true. So even if you're exempt from English test, you have to take the civic test. You can take the test in your native language, but you have to still take it. And most of the questions are related to US history, politics, constitution, US government, those kind of things. It's not super hard, but for the kind of older people, it's difficult to remember, but try your best to do that, okay? Next slide, please. Exemption from English, naturalization. So medical disability with Form N648 must submit with the Form N400 if an alien develops a disability or impairment after filing the Form N400 and provides evidence to support his claim that justify submitting Form N648 late. Note, you may be eligible for an exemption to the both English and civic naturalization requirements. To request this exemption, submit your Form N648 medical certification for disability exemption completed by licensed medical or osteopathic doctor or licensed clinical psychologist. So you cannot just claim by yourself. It must be tested and authenticated by a doctor, like doctor, either medical doctor, osteopathic doctor, or a psychologist. Warning tips that complicate applications. Prior immigration fraud or material representation, that's really bad. That's really bad for everything. So I highly recommend you not to do any kind of fraud or misrepresentation. That's going to do very bad for you. Extended absence from United States. As I said, you have to stay in America for a certain time before you apply for naturalization. Unfiled or improperly filed tax returns, very bad. Criminal history, arrest charges or convictions, again, very bad. Pending court matters or outstanding warrants, inconsistencies between N400 and prior applications. Prevention. Conduct through eligibility review before filing. You can check your eligibility from our website directly. So if you have any questions about all this thing, feel free to reach out to us. And also, if you go to our website, we can check your eligibility to say if there's any big issues. Next slide, please. The naturalization interview. The immigration officer will verify your identity with original documents. So please take all of your documents with you, not just your passport, your driving license, other things. Those are mandatory, but take all the information, all the documents with you at the time of the interview. Review your N400 application line by line. Test your English speaking, reading, and writing. Administer the civic examination. Assess your overall credibility and truthfulness. Processing time. The average N400 application processing time range from 6 months to 12 months from when the filing to interview is scheduled. Following approval after the interview, the oath ceremony is typically scheduled within 2 to 6 weeks. Note, if N400 is denied, you can submit the form N336, request for a hearing on a decision in naturalization process under section 336 of the INA. Meaning, if your N400 application is denied, you can submit another form called N336, request for a hearing. Oath ceremony after the approval. Next slide, please. The oath ceremony is the final step to becoming a US citizen. So this is the important thing. A lot of time, if people, when they pass the test, they think they become a US citizen automatically. That's not true. Just because you pass the test and the officer said, congratulations, you did everything right, doesn't mean that you are a citizen. Until you take the oath, you are not a US citizen. So please remember, until you take the oath, you are not a US citizen. You will receive your certificate of naturalization after taking the oath. Your green card will be surrendered and canceled. You are officially a US citizen from the oath date. The date you receive the oath, that's you become the official US citizen. Congratulations, you can apply for passport. So that was our presentation today. And again, I'm doing it from my car. It's not recommended. It's not a good thing, but I had no other choice. So if any of you have any questions, I'm going back to Turin.
Thank you, Mr. Mahajan, for that insightful presentations. We'll now take a brief break of exactly 1 minute and 11 seconds. Please stay tuned as the session will resume shortly.
Are you an extraordinary individual looking to take your talents to the land of opportunities? Welcome to Raju Law, your trusted partner in the pursuit of the American dream. The EB1 category is designed for individuals with extraordinary ability in sciences, education, arts, business, athletics, or any professions, as well as for outstanding professors, researchers, and multinational executives or managers. This includes individuals with a record of sustained national or international acclaim, and those who have achieved significant achievements in their field. At Raju Law, we specialize in guiding extraordinary individuals through the complex EB1 application process with ease and efficiency. We will evaluate your unique qualifications and determine your eligibility to secure this highly sought-after immigration preference. We'll highlight your awards, publications, media recognition, and other evidence to establish your extraordinary ability or outstanding researcher status. Contact us today to learn more about how we can assist you in securing your green card through the EB1 program.
Welcome back, everyone. That was a very informative session on the US naturalization process and key steps to become a US citizen. Mr. Mahajan, we will have a list of frequently asked questions that many people have about today's topic. We will start those, and then we will take a few questions from our live audience as they come in.
Sure.
All right. So my first question is, do I need to include traffic tickets on my N400 application?
I recommend. I highly recommend. Yes. You know, probably a lot of other attorneys will say you do not have to report until it is $200 or more or something like that. I personally recommend saying everything, like write everything, so that the officer knows you're a really good person. You're disclosing everything. So that's really good practice.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mahajan. My second question is, I didn't file taxes for 2 years when I was unemployed. Will this affect my citizenship application?
No, if you're not employed, then you're not required. So, according to law, the only requirement is if you make $600 or more, then you're required to file taxes. So, in that case, you can write a note and say, "Hey, these 2 years I was not employed. I did not make any money, so I did not file taxes." But in that case, USCIS officer may ask you, like, "How did you survive without working for 2 years? It's a long time." You have to come up with some good answer. Otherwise, they may they may think you're lying, kind of things. So short answer is, if you did not make any money, you are not required to file taxes. In that case, I'll recommend you to write a letter and sign it, and say that you did not make any money in those 2 years.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mahajan. My next question is, if my citizenship application is denied, what happens to my green card?
Now, if your citizenship application is denied, your green card is still is valid, and the government, give us green card for 10 years. So let's say after 5 years of your green card, you applied for citizenship, it's denied. You will still have your 5 more years of your green card. There's no problem with that.
Thank you, Mr. Mahajan. My next question is, can I legally change my name while my Form N400 is pending?
Yes, and that's really good times. A lot of people, they want to change their name. So if you want to change your name at the time of N400 application, it's free. You do not have to pay any money. You can do it free. However, on the other time, if you want to file for change of your name, you have to pay some money to the circuit court, also advertise in a newspaper and another place. So that's kind of a little expensive, not super expensive, little expensive, but if you want to change name at the time of citizenship, that's really free and it's highly recommended.
Thank you so much. My next question is, do I need to bring original documents such as birth and marriage certificates to the naturalization interview?
I would recommend you, yes. It's not mandatory. Many documents are not mandatory to bring, but I tell my clients, hey, take everything in a plastic bag, like a big bag, and take everything with you so that officer knows you have everything. It kind of give the officer confidence. Like, let me tell you about my experience. When I went to my citizenship interview, naturalization interview, I was a law student that time. And I took everything in a big plastic bag. And, the officer asked me, what do you do? I said, I'm a law student. And she was smiling to me. And she said, you probably know more than me. So, I'm not going to ask you any question. And she saw that I brought everything. So my interview was literally like 10 minutes, very short. So, and this is really good. Like, if you take everything with you, that's really helpful for you.
Thank you, Mr. Mahajan. All right. My next question is, if I fail a portion of the naturalization test, when will I be retested?
So usually it depends on the officer. He or she will tell you, like, hey, you failed this part. I'm going to reschedule, or I'm going to send your file to my higher authority. They are going to reach out to you. So it basically depends on the officer. An officer will tell you what is the next course of action.
That's great. All right. My next question is, how should I give a proof of good moral character?
So good moral character is a legal concept. If you are doubtful, like if you have some criminal conviction before, let's say, you did some crime before, you are worried, you can reach out to us and we can see whether you'll meet the good moral GMC or not. And if you do not meet this criteria, then I can help you how to, kind of like reduce the burden on that. But in general, if you do not have any crime, if you do not have any bad things, then you automatically meet this criteria.
All right, that's all from the FAQ sections. Thank you, Mr. Mahajan, for explaining these important naturalization topics so clearly. I'm sure our audience finds this guidance extremely helpful. Before we wrap up, do you have any final advice for lawful permanent residents who are planning to apply for US citizenship, especially regarding preparation and timing?
Yes. So a lot of green card holders, they think that, oh, I have the green card, so I do not have to live in America. I can live in a foreign country. I can just go once a year. This is not a good practice. And also, our current president, Donald Trump, he's very hawkish about this. So I heard, especially when Donald Trump became president last year, a lot of people, they were forced to surrender their green card because they did not stay in America enough time. So I highly recommend you, those who have green card, please stay in America and follow all the rules and regulations. Otherwise, you may not get your citizenship. Not only that, your green card may be canceled too. So those are really serious things.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mahajan, for joining us today and sharing your valuable insights. It's always a pleasure having you with us.
You too. Thank you so much. And I thank all of our audience. Our next session will be next Monday at the same time.
All right, that brings us the final segment of today's session, our weekly immigration news updates. Thank you everyone who stayed with us till the end. Before we close, let's take a quick look at the most important immigration updates from this week that you should be aware of. Until next time, this is Ms. Faral Dushari Turin signing off. Stay informed and stay ahead. Have a great day.
Hi everyone, welcome to this week's immigration update from Raju Law. We bring you the latest news, USCIS updates, and policy changes that matter. This week's top stories include March 2026 Visa Bulletin brings major EB2 movement. DHS shutdown leaves most immigration services running. Americans drive surge in New Zealand investor visa filings. Let's start with the biggest update of the week. The March 2026 Visa Bulletin brings a major shift for EB2 applicants. Dates for filing will become current for all countries except India and China. EB2 India will move ahead by 11 months. USCIS confirmed it will accept employment-based adjustment of status applications next month for anyone with a priority date earlier than the dates for filing chart. Other employment-based categories will either move slightly or stay the same. Next, the impact of the DHS shutdown. A partial shutdown has started because lawmakers could not agree on DHS funding. Even though the political fight is about immigration, most immigration services are still running. USCIS remains open because it is fee-funded and visa processing, LCAs, and border inspections continue. Employers can keep filing as usual. Longer delays are possible only if the shutdown lasts for a long time. Finally, an international investor visa update. Wealthy Americans now make up about 40% of applicants for New Zealand's Active Investor Plus visa. New rules introduced in April 2025 lowered investment minimums and removed English language requirements. Since then, applications have increased sharply, with most investors choosing the higher value growth investment category. Interest is also rising from China and Hong Kong. That wraps up this week's immigration updates. If you are interested in EB2 NIW or want a free evaluation, visit our website to learn more and see if you qualify. Stay connected with Raju Law for more news, insights, and guidance. See you next week with the latest developments in US immigration.